Hi, thanks for joining me in another episode of Why Not Go? Well, as you can see, I'm not in the tiki room today. I'm a little bit outside the tiki room. I'm in Chelsea. Joe and I are in Chelsea. It's a late May drizzly day in London, and we're in Sloane Square. So today I'm doing a Kings Road video. I'm going to record a lot of things on the Kings Road and what it looks like now, the shops and everything. First time I came to Kings Road, I think was maybe like 74 or 5. But the first time I really walked the Kings Road was August 1977, when obviously I was really into punk, and I delivered the jacket to Glitter Best and Steve Jones. And then I went to, walked all the way to 430 Kings Road. As we all know, that's Malcolm and Vivian's shop. So we're gonna go there today. I have no idea what the shop is today or if it's even still there. So we'll find out. So, and then I'm gonna just point out a few things that I've already walked around a bit. It's obviously changed a lot. Last time I walked the Kings Road, I think it was in the 90s when I lived here. So I'm going back almost 30 years from the time I kind of explored the area. So we're in Sloane Square, and we're looking right up Sloane Street, and that goes all the way to Knightsbridge, obviously. And I just love this square. It's so nice, so pretty. And yeah, I'll take the camera. Thank you, Joe. And then yeah, so Sloane Square, such a beautiful spot. Over there, that building there is the Royal Court Theatre. That's been there for, I don't know how long. I'm going to guess like 200 years. Beautiful theater, Sloane Square Hotel. So Kings Road is so famous. What I love about Kings Road is it's not just famous for the punks and in 1976, 77, but Oscar Wilde walked up and down the Kings Road in the 1800s. This is where he felt free to dress and be who he was. Same for Quentin Crisp. I love Quentin Crisp, and the writer, the English writer who moved to New York and was in that Police song. And I love Quentin Crisp, and he obviously walked up and down the Kings Road as well. All right, so let's check out Kings Road on May, what's the date today? May 28th, 2024. Let's check out the Kings Road. And I remember when I first lived here, I had a bed set just off on that street there, and that's Draycott Place. And I had a little bed sit there for a couple months with my friend Sue. And this is now a Peter Jones, but I remember at the time it was a John Lewis department store. And I'm glad the building is still the same. It's kind of has that 60s architecture. All right, so let's check out the Kings Road, May 28th, 2024. All right, I'm a little further down the Kings Road. One thing I've noticed that's changed a lot is that the stores are a lot more high-end than I remember, even in the 90s. But obviously it was always a good area. I always loved this little square here. And this has nothing to do with the Sex Pistols, but where that McDonald's was is a very famous site. It's just a normal McDonald's. I'm not going to go in there. There's nothing original. But this site right here was the Chelsea Drugstore. And I remember coming here as late as the 80s, I think, and it was still the Chelsea Drugstore. And what that was like 3 floors of records, and I guess there was a chemist there too, and a news agent. And the Chelsea Drugstore is famous for a couple things. First, that's where a very famous scene in Clockwork Orange was filmed, and I'll show a still here if I can. And that's where Alex goes and picks up the 2 girls, looking for the old in and out, he says. Alex in Clockwork Orange, he picks up the 2 girls in the record store. And that was right there. And I always remember one of the records he looked at was called Heaven 17. And the band Heaven 17 obviously named themselves after that record that he mentioned, or the band he mentioned when he was there. And then it's also famous because the Rolling Stones and their song, You Can't Always Get What You Want, he has the famous lines where she went to the Chelsea drugstore to get her prescription filled. And what was it? Standing in line, and Mr. Jimmy was looking pretty ill. So that is the old Chelsea drugstore that was a film location in Clockwork Orange, and also mentioned in the song You Can't Always Get What You Want, which I think I just read recently. That song was about after he had an affair with Anita Pallenberg, she went back to Keith Richards, and so Mick Jagger apparently wrote that song about Anita Pallenberg, who lived in this area, I think, most of her life. All right, let's continue down the Kings Road. More look at the Chelsea drugstore. Famous location there. Apparently it was open 16 hours a day, 3 floors. And I never went in there. I remember passing it when I was here in the 70s. But now it's a McDonald's. What are you gonna do? Anyway, Chelsea drugstore. All right, I'm walking down Kings Road here. This looks very high-end, whatever it is. Oh, it's a Pizza Express. The Pheasantry by Pizza Express. Nice. All right. Waterstones. And yeah, lots of people walking. Although yesterday was busier because yesterday it wasn't raining. And the Chelsea Potter, I do remember that pub. I don't know about the 70s, but I think I remember it at least in the 80s, so that's still there. The Chelsea Potter. That's a nice pub. You know, one thing I've noticed since I've been here, that there's not as many pubs as I kind of remember, but I don't know. Maybe my memory's not that good. But I feel like, yeah, there's the old Chelsea Potter. That's neat. All right. Lots of stores like these. More Starbucks, of course. I don't think there were, when I lived here in the 90s, I didn't live here, I lived in Kilburn, but I don't think there was many Starbucks around in the 90s, in London anyway. I think they started coming around, I think they really got going about 2000, the whole Starbucks thing. Five Guys, that's a chain, of course. All right. Just walking down the Kings Road. I remember reading that the punks used to sometimes have to be escorted by the police because I think the Teddy Boys would try to attack them on Kings Road. But I never saw that, but I wasn't here that often. Anthropology there, another chain. Jigsaw, I remember Jigsaw. It's still around. High-end shops. More high-end shops. Another makeup. Now we have a Waitrose.
Hi. There's a meter downstairs. Right. Yeah, it's locked on there.
Going. All right. The next stop I'm going to do is going to be 131 Kings Road, and I think I'm kind of getting there. Oh. it's 151. Oh, I passed it. Oh, there's Flood Street. Oh, this is bringing back memories. I'm gonna go back. All right, I'm gonna go back here because I just pointed out that Anthropology. But where that Anthropology is where the old London Antiques Market used to be. And that's where Stefan Raynor, I think his name was, he had a stall in there, the Chelsea Antiques Market. And that looks like it's just a normal Anthropology. But it looks like the outside is still looks older. I don't know if that's new or old, but where that was the old London Antiques Market, and that's where, I think his name is Stefan Raynor. In 1974, he had a stall there, and that stall ended up being Acme Attractions, a famous punk store where Don Letts worked, and Acme Attraction became Boy, which Boy was super popular, obviously late 70s and 80s. But that's where the old Chelsea Antique Market was. And I remember coming here, I think it was before 77, I think it was like maybe 75 with my mother. And the Chelsea Antique Market, it was, they sold like funky fur coats from the 40s. They also sold lots of vintage dresses. It was still kind of hippie. That's what I remember anyway. I think like 75, 76, the Chelsea Antique Market. It was still kind of hippie. But I guess it wasn't all hippie because the guy who started Acme Attractions started here at this address. That's neat. I remember it was a bunch of stalls in there, but now it looks like it's all kind of broken up into individual stores. All right, my next location is going to be where Acme Attractions, once they were finished there in that stall, they moved to their own store. So that's going to be the next stop. All right, now I'm at 153 Kings Road, and this is a very famous spot. This is where Acme Attractions opened up. I believe it opened in 1976. So after it was in the Antiques Market, which is just over there, beautiful old building. After it was a stall in that building, he opened up, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, Stefan Raynor. That's where he opened up Acme Attractions, where Don Letts worked. I think, I could be wrong, but I think one of the members of the Clash might have worked the till. I need to look that up, but I thought I saw that mentioned there, whether it was, I think it was Mick Jones. So that's a very famous store. And then Don Letts, I think he was part owner or manager, and then he left there when he started to manage the Slits. And then obviously Don Letts went on to do Big Audio Dynamite and filming, making films. I love Don Letts. So that is the old Boy. And it's funny because when I was walking down the street the other day, just panning the street, and I walked by this store and I thought, oh, there's still a rock store in Kings Road. Because I kind of remember, you know, the stores being kind of more funky in the 70s. And, but, you know, it's not anymore. But I remember yesterday I thought, oh, there's still a rock store in Kings Road. So I'm sure it's a kind of a rock and roll shop because of the location. And I remember coming here in, as I said, in 77, and I went in there and they were selling the bondage pants that Seditionaries was doing, but at a much cheaper price. It was like, I can't even remember the prices back then, but if the price was if the price of Seditionaries was, say, 30 pounds, they were 20 pounds there. And then I read that apparently Vivienne Westwood, they licensed the design, so it wasn't like they were ripping them off. They Vivian Westwood and Malcolm, they licensed the design so that they could sell the stuff there. So that's what I remember when I went to Boy in '77. I remember that it was, they were selling a lot of punk stuff, and I think they sold Sex Pistols t-shirts, but I remember they sold the bondage pants. They weren't made as well as Malcolm and Vivian's pants were, but I remember they were selling them there. All right, so let's just go take a look inside the shop. Maybe they have some old pictures. This is the window it's called Ad Hoc. And this is the window for the shop where Boy was located. Acme Attractions and Boy. I'm gonna walk in. They might not let me film, so I might have to turn it off. Oh. All right, we weren't allowed to film inside because there are some people in there, but it's very small. And I remember Boy was a small store. But yeah, the one thing, and here's a photo of Joe. He snapped a photo in there. Now it's called Ad Hoc. But yeah, the one thing I really remember about Boy in 1977 was if you wanted the bondage trousers and you wanted them at a cheaper price, you could get them here. But the quality wasn't as good. But at least it's sort of a rock and roll store. It's kind of a costume shop more than a rock store. But anyway, the old Boy location. Now it's Ad Hoc. Cool. Now we're going to continue on. We're down now at the old Chelsea Town Hall. And I think David Bowie married Angela here. If so, I will put the picture up because there's a famous picture of him and he and Angela and his mother outside the Chelsea Town Hall. But I think a lot of people got married here in the day. So the Chelsea Town Hall, beautiful old building. I always remember walking by the Chelsea Town Hall. So we're a little further down now. We're at Sydney Street. Just panning the King's Road. It's funny. What I love about London is the streets are so narrow. That doesn't change. I love that. And then you have a lot of architecture that doesn't change. The shops change, but I'm glad the buildings haven't changed too much. All right. We're going to continue down the legendary King's Road, known for Oscar Wilde and the Sex Pistols and a lot of other artists too. All right, we're here at the corner of Beaufort Street, Joe Beaufort Street, and King's Road, and it's 354 King's Road, and this is where a pub called the Roebuck used to be. It's funny, I always thought the Sex Pistols met at a pub right near this the sex shop, because there is a pub that's closer, but this is the location where they met. It's called Beaufort House. It's kind of high-end European cuisine. We'll try to film in there. But this was a very historic because this is where Lydon met the other three Sex Pistols. I don't think they wanted to meet him. Obviously it was Malcolm's instigating. It was his idea. He's the one that spotted him, although some people say Bernie Rhodes spotted Lydon before Malcolm. But Malcolm is the one that wanted him in the band. So this is where he met them on that fateful day, August 22nd, 1975. This is when I hope I don't get emotional, this is when one of the greatest bands in the world got together right there at that corner. So I'm just going to read from this, and I'll just step out of the way and Joe can just focus on it. This is from, I love, what's his name? Paul Gorman's book on Malcolm McLaren, because it's so well rehearsed. And I'm just going to read a little bit from his book. Yeah, so I'm going to get the microphone. I'm just going to read a little bit from his book. And so they met here Friday, August 22nd, 1975. And what happened was Lydon had been hanging around the shop, and wearing his Pink Floyd, I Hate Pink Floyd t-shirt. And Malcolm, spotted him. As I said, there's controversy, like who spotted him first, Bernie Rhodes or Malcolm. But obviously he stood out in 1975. And according to Malcolm, actually Vivienne Westwood had spotted another John Beverly, Sid obviously, and she thought she wanted him in the band, so maybe it was a confusion of the Johns. But Malcolm first started talking to him, and then I'm going to quote from Paul Gorman's book. Then in came this John, a very, very obstreperous creature, looking for a pair of bravo creepers in white suede. I thought this must be the one who Vivian had mentioned. I didn't have the shoe size in his size, but I told him I'll get them the following week. And then I asked him, do you sing? And that's when Lydon said, nah, only out of tune. I love that. And then Malcolm said, all right, we'll test you. And if you want the Bravo, he was looking at Bravo Creepers, if you want the shoes, you have to head on down to the Roebuck tonight, where you can meet the rest of the band. So according to Malcolm, they got together because Lydon just wanted a pair of Bravo Creepers at the shop. And so, busy corner, Beaufort Street and Kings Road. So they got together because Lydon wanted a pair of Bravo Creepers. And so he agreed to meet them later that night on August 22nd. He took his friend John Gray, who was with him a lot. And then after that, they went to the. Then right after that, they went to the shop, which we're gonna film that later. And I love this quote from Malcolm. Malcolm said, "This guy is the one. We went along with him," said Matlock. "Who knows why?" I told him all we could think was he couldn't sing. His voice. All we could think was, "Oh wow, Malcolm's got us a singer who can't sing. What is that all about?" I just love that. So we're going to try to film in there, but this is where the historic meeting that Malcolm instigated, where Lydon came to meet the rest of the band, who weren't very impressed. Obviously they weren't impressed. They didn't go to the first rehearsal. But it used to be a pub called the Roebuck, so let's go check out the interior. Okay, now the Roebuck is a place called the Beaufort House. Kind of a high-end place with ribeye steak and stuff like that. But it looks, you can tell it's an old pub. I might have to turn this off, but I'll see. Hey, can I film the bar? Yeah. So this is the former Roebuck. Beautiful place. So this is where they met. August 22nd, 1975. All right, one more view of the former Roebuck pub on Kings Road, where the Sex Pistols first got together with John Lydon. So I'm going to keep the camera rolling. All right, so I just came from the Roebuck down that way. It's just a short little walk. And this used to be a pub. I remember going to this pub, but now it's something else, something high-end, I don't know. So now I made it to the World's End. And another really important shop here was Johnson's. And I used to know Lloyd Johnson. I used to have a store with a former boyfriend in LA, and we used to sell some of his suits. And my former boyfriend used to work for Lloyd Johnson at this shop when we lived here in the 90s. Lloyd Johnson is so legendary. So, oh, that's neat. It's a tailor's. Wow. So this is 406 Kings Road, right around the corner from from Malcolm and Vivian's shop. And Lloyd had this shop, I think, from 1978 to about 1999 or 2000. Very influential designer. He was famous for his leather jackets, leather pants, suits. He started out at a stall in Kings Road in the 60s, I believe. Lloyd is just a great English treasure, I think. So this is where his shop was. This is, I love this shop. It wasn't here, I don't think, in '77 when I first came down to World's End, but it's such a great shop. I think they have some pictures in there, so I'll see if I can film. So now it's a tailor shop. I remember it was bigger. Oh, I used to come to this store. All right, I made it to the old seditionaries there. I remember there was there used to be a phone box there, a phone booth. But yeah, I don't remember that door there, but I just always remember the phone booth. Maybe they moved it over there. There's a phone booth over there. So we made it to World's End. I haven't been here in a long time. I like this area of the Kings Road because it's kind of, I remember I used to go to an Oxfam kind of thrift store here. It gets sort of more, I don't know, clothes for normal people when you get down to this end. All right, I made it to 430 Kings Road. All right, and the outside of the store actually looks the same as I remember it, I think in the late 80s. So I think the outside of it's been the same since probably early or mid 80s. So there it is. I think the clock used to move around. So, all right, I made it. I haven't been here in a long time. So there it is, the famous World's End. It's such a small store. I love it. I love it. I know that Malcolm and Vivian, they started the store by just renting a small space in the back. I think it was called Paradise Garage. And then Let It Rock, then Too Fast to Live, Too Young to Die, Sex, then Seditionaries, and then finally World's End. But yeah, what started off as just a small fashion store. Well, actually, they started in the back of the store, turned into a fashion empire. And there's the rest of the Kings Road down there. We're going to go back down there as well. All right, World's End. Gosh, it looks the same as I remember it. Wonder what it's like inside. I'm going to ask before I go in. We probably can't film inside, but we'll see. We just came out of World's End. Very nice shop assistants in there. We couldn't film though. I didn't think so, but we took a couple of pictures by the clock. And I'm happy to say that the store hasn't changed much since about 1981. I think he said it hasn't changed much since then, since she did the kind of pirate look and they did the uneven floors. It has the same look. The only difference is the changing rooms are now in a little lower level. It used to be just kind of over on the right. So I guess it's a little bit larger because they have changing rooms like a few steps down. But the actual square footage of the store is still the same, and it still has the uneven floors. Obviously the doors are, obviously the door when it was seditionaries used to be in the middle. So yeah, that was fun. I have not been in this store. It's funny, when I lived here in the 90s, I'm not sure I came here at all. You know, when you're living somewhere, you're working, and I think the last time I was here was like late 80s. So it really hasn't changed much. And a lot of her designs haven't changed much either. I mean, she's changed, but it's a lot of the shoes, and she still does the orb on some of the shirts in there. But it's still a tiny store that really changed a lot. And obviously this is where they met, and this is where Light and sang to the jukebox to I'm 18, and after they were at the Roebuck down the street, and the other members didn't like him, but Malcolm did, so that's all that mattered. All right, well, I'm really glad that we made it. I'm going to turn the camera around. We're going to both be in the shot. We made it to the World's End, Joe.
Yeah, we did.
I don't think, I was saying, I don't think I've been here since, I don't think I've been here since the late 80s, so it's been a long time. Still a great store.
Yeah, it's awesome in there. I love it. It's still, the floor is still slanted.
Yeah, the floor is still slanted like it was in the early 80s. So that was great. That was a wonderful experience. All right, we're gonna, all right. As we said, I couldn't film in there, but that's okay. You can kind of see. Love the shoes here. The shop assistants were so nice. Got a lot of shoes in the window. Love it. Love the shop. Hasn't changed much. That's amazing. One quick note before we leave 430 Kings Road, where the Sex Pistols got together and light and sang I'm 18, August 22nd, 1975. I just want to make a quick note, some things don't change, and I remember shopping at this Oxfam in the 80s when I would come here to the World's End. So that's neat, that Oxfam is still there. All right, I hope you enjoyed my walk down memory lane. Kings Road in Chelsea. I'll have more London videos coming up. We've been in London for about 2 weeks, so I've got some more interesting punk rock Sex Pistols videos coming up. Hope you enjoyed my first one here, walking down Kings Road. And I know that the Sex Pistols are in the news again. When we were in London, it was announced that they're doing a couple shows at the Shepherd's Bush, at a venue in Shepherd's Bush to raise money for charity. I think it's August 13th and 14th. I wish I lived in London. I would definitely try to get tickets. So that's kind of exciting. Steve and Paul and Glenn are doing a gig for charity. So the Sex Pistols, with a different singer, obviously. His name is Frank Carter. So the Sex Pistols continue to be in the news, and I think that's great. So until the next video, thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you.